As King Evan stood in his chamber, he began to ponder how Andrew had become so dangerous in a short period of time. There was so much evidence against him. First, a troll told him about how Andrew had crossed a bridge without paying. Second, castle visitors had mentioned seeing him just before a bridge was destroyed. Third, he must have been upset with the elder for sending him to Rotciv to the point where he burned down the village. Finally, a prisoner had escaped shortly after he had interrogated him. With all of that evidence, Andrew was too much of a risk to be let go. Whatever the case, the king could not look weak after a prisoner had escaped a few days ago. Since a recent attack on the castle had also occurred a few days before that, he had to consider that there was a mutiny risk as well. Was locking Andrew up in prison enough, or should he move to execute him? If so, the execution must happen quickly. What happened to the village elder? Did Andrew kill him? At least the queen was happy. As Andrew stood in prison, he asked himself how the prisoner had escaped. The door was locked, so obviously the lock was not picked. Did he disappear? However, a disappearance would either require strong magic skills, or was that possible through alchemy? While the elder was skilled in alchemy, no one knew if he was still alive. Basically, neither option made sense. Nevertheless, the prisoner had escaped a few days ago. What about the source of power he was seeking? Meanwhile, the troll stood guard steadfastly at the bridge. The troll had visitors. As they moved forward, the troll announced,
"Crossing will cost you either 2 gold pieces or 3 silver ones."
Would they attack him too? To his surprise, they did not attack him. However, they did give him 3 pieces of silver. The troll replied,
"Thanks. Enjoy your travels."
As they crossed the bridge, the troll was happy that the kingdom had become safer. With a few more visitors, he figured he might be able to save up enough to repair the other bridge. That is, after he paid taxes to Rotciv Castle. Back inside Rotciv Castle, the king began to think deeper. Andrew had attacked a troll. Trolls were a big part of Rotciv's tax base. If they stopped paying taxes, that would mean that the king could not afford his lavish lifestyle anymore. No more expensive living would be a bad thing. Without the troll, he could not afford to entertain guests anymore. Andrew continued to ponder things inside his cell. Alchemy was a source of power. Did the other prisoners seek to learn alchemy, or was there some magic in the castle? Maybe that is why the king was acting strange. How did the prisoner escape, though? Escaping seemed like Andrew's only option here, since no one would listen to him. What exactly would he do to get out? Well, he figured that if the prisoner had found a way, he would too. As he stood in his chamber, the king began to think about other implications of having less taxes without the troll. No more expensive weapons purchases. He would also have to cut back on security at a time when the castle needed it most. Not having enough castle guards could be dangerous. Worse, the queen might become angry with no more expensive gifts. Andrew had created so many more problems than he helped solve. There could only be one solution, and that was getting rid of Andrew. The king decided that he would give the execution order the next day. How exactly had the prisoner escaped? No magic? No alchemy? And did not pick the lock? Maybe, just maybe, there was a trap door somewhere in the cell. How else could the prisoner get out? It was the only thing that made sense. Did he dig his way out and cover it up? Andrew started searching around the inside of the cell. Little did he know that he had to get out quickly, for he was not aware of his impending execution that the king was planning to order the next day. By this time it was dark, and all was quiet outside Rotciv Castle. However, the guard had to be on the lookout for anything, because that is what they paid him for. As Andrew continued his search, he noticed that some of the bricks inside the cell moved. That was it! This must be the trapdoor he was looking for. As he played around with it more, the thought occurred to him that he indeed found the trapdoor. It was time to escape, but where did this door lead? Nevertheless, he had to get out of that cell, so moving through it was an easy decision. What was the worst that could happen? The downside would be that they catch him and put him back in his prison cell. The upside was freedom. After Andrew moved through the bricks, he found himself inside a tunnel. Quickly, he put the bricks back, for he did not want the guard to figure out what exactly he had done. Then, he noticed some silver coins had been dropped inside the tunnel. It was his lucky day. Andrew then began to pick up the silver coins. Since time was important, he did so in a hurried fashion. There was no way that he was going to end up back in that prison cell. Meanwhile, in the other room, the guard was still trying to figure out what had happened to the king. Whatever had happened, he knew he must guard this prisoner, for it was better to be on His Majesty's payroll than on his bad side. Another prisoner escape could be devastating. While he was growing tired, there was no way he was going to let anyone come up these steps in case Andrew had locksmith-type skills. With the silver coins in his possession, Andrew began to walk through the tunnel. As he walked through it, he thought for a minute. Then, it hit him. This must be the secret escape route from Rotciv Castle in case of a siege. Now he really had to hurry. What if the prisoner was still in the tunnel? Well, it had been a few days, and he could not worry about that. He just needed to move as fast as possible. After a long walk, Andrew was nearing the end of the tunnel. He was now free. However, he was also very tired. He would need to find a place to rest shortly. It was late at night when Sammy stood guard on one of the towers at Rotciv Castle. Sammy had just recently been promoted for his help in defending the castle almost a week ago. Like most young guards, Sammy was ambitious. As Andrew walked around, he was looking for a place to rest. Would this area be safe? He did not really have a choice in this matter, since the castle was off limits and his village had burned down. It would also take almost a full day to get back to the village by foot. This night was not an exciting night for Sammy. In fact, it was rather boring. Guard work was not as fun as it initially had appeared. However, he knew that he had to work hard to impress his superiors. He would do whatever it took to keep his star on the rise. While he pondered what he would do the next day, Andrew became even more tired. Soon he fell asleep in the middle of the woods. After a while, he began to have another dream. Once again, this dream was about the village elder. Why did he keep having dreams about the elder? While Andrew could not understand what the elder was saying, he got a sense that the elder was communicating danger. Andrew thought,
"Really? Danger? Wow. I go all this stuff you talk about is danger? Like I never danger myself? Are you still alive?"
Shortly afterwards, he fell into a deep sleep. That would be the end of his dream for the night.